All right.
All right. You can still hear me? Good? Okay, cool. All right, guys. Just want to welcome Matt Pedersen to the show today. Just so thankful that he's here to share some knowledge with us. Matt, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hey, so tell us a little bit about yourself. I know we're going to be talking about kind of your crazy hobby you do, but just kind of give us some more background to that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Went to college. Went to grad school. Got all my got my degree in exercise science, master's in sports performance, and like we're going to talk about, kind of just started to fall in love with the endurance side of things, and did my first marathon. I just got it like 8 years ago. It was funny to look at, and
Yeah.
I remember, I fell in love. I was like, wow, like this is great, right? So my second one I did, I went in. I had I wanted to get like 15 minutes faster, no biggie. And by mile 20, dude, oh my gosh, it was I hit the wall like bad.
Yep,
I was
absolutely.
doing 750, 745s for a while, and then
Phew.
like 845, 945. The last like 2 miles were like 12-minute miles, like diet. It
Oh,
was awful. It
I
was terrible.
understand.
But what's cool was I finished, and I remember thinking like my body was dead. I slowed down, but I made it. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember thinking like, wow, like what would it be like to push myself really, like to go farther, to find a point where my body fails, but my mind makes it so I keep going. And so I kind of had that idea, and I had heard about these crazy things called ultras. Then I did a 50, and from there,
Man,
I absolutely fell in love with the 50. Then I did a 100, then I did a 200, and
that's
um,
awesome.
didn't look back. So
Yeah, I mean, marathons are probably the farthest I'll go.
well,
And I
it's crazy
understand that,
enough.
like, mentally, like, just pushing yourself towards the end. But your first marathon you did, you ran into Notre Dame, right?
Yes,
I
yeah,
was there.
that's right. I remember that.
Yep. So I got to see you after your first marathon. So when Matt becomes famous, world
Yes,
known for
you were
his
there.
ultra distances, I saw his first marathon. I was there and I got a
Yep.
picture with him
Heck
with a
yeah.
couple other buddies from college. So yeah, it's cool to kind of see the start and then see what you're doing
I
now.
was
And
so nervous that first marathon, dude. I was so nervous.
man, yeah, my first one, I was super. I did the Chicago for my first one, and yeah, just super nervous. But like at the end, it almost got emotional. Like I started kind of get teary eyed. Like, wow, I'm
Yep.
about to finish a marathon. Like,
Oh, dude. And I ran such a great rate. I mean, I was going for 3.5 hours, and I ran like 8:05 pace, like a little slower than I wanted in the beginning. And then
a
I
little
remember
slower.
kind of someone like my mentor, kind of like I looked up to, said, "Look, at mile 22, if you're feeling good still," he said, I remember he said, "You run as fast as your little heart wants." And I remember thinking, I got to mile 22, I still felt good. I
That's
started
awesome.
busting out 720s and 715s the last
That's
couple miles.
awesome,
Did three and a
man.
half hours.
Yeah,
So,
my or my record, I guess, PR for marathon is like just under 4.5 hours, which
hey
so
man, that's awesome.
4:28. So yeah, I mean, I don't put the training into it like I should. So like I'm running the Indy here in a couple weeks,
Okay.
November 9th, and I haven't ran since last year's marathon. So
Ooh, oh
I
boy,
kind
yeah,
of
those.
glutton for punishment for sure.
Yep.
So, but yes. So what's the longest ultra you've run distance wise?
2 years ago, I did 240 miles in Moab.
Wow.
So
Now, I'm always curious, do you literally run straight the whole time?
yeah, the people ask me that. No,
Okay.
no. Of that Moab race,
Yeah.
it was pretty runnable, honestly. But if I'm looking at it, I probably ran, let's say, 60% of that, and power
But
hiked
still,
40%. I would
yeah,
say
that's
it's really just about, because on the hills, unless it's a small hill, any kind of major hill you're walking. For
oh,
me,
I'm
I'm not an
sure.
elite athlete. It makes no sense to shave off 10 seconds and use a ton of energy.
Yeah.
You just keep a fast walk when you're
Mm,
walking, and then when you can run, when you're feeling good, you do that slow little shuffle. But no, you're not running. I don't
that's
run.
crazy. Now, like, do you stop to eat? I mean, go to the bathroom? You got to stop, right? Do you sleep
Yeah,
at all or?
there's aid stations. These races I've done. There's aid stations every, let's say, 15 to 20 miles, which can be anywhere between 6 hours to 10 hours, depends on how tough that spot is. So you have to have your own, you'll go in and they have great food. I mean, they have everything you'd think of: sandwiches, bacon, eggs, pizza, everything you could think of that you want. Soup, they have it. And then you load up, I have a backpack full of, Mountain Dew and water and bunch of other calories, PB&Js and stuff. and then I have to be able to fuel myself for the next, let's say, 6 to 10 hours on my own.
Yeah.
So then I just do what I can there, and then you get to another aid station, eat some more good food, and you just keep going from there. So
Man, that's crazy. And I'm guessing you have a team following you in case you need something or.
yeah, so not everyone has that. I've been lucky. My parents have both come, and they've done awesome. They're like, basically what happens is each aid station you come in, you're getting drunker and drunker, right? You're not really thinking logically. So, but especially in these races I've done, it might be very hot, and then next time that you get to an aid station, it might be freezing because you're in the mountains.
Yep.
So you have to make sure. I know, it's like 75 degrees. It's let's say 4 p.m. If you don't have the knowledge to think, I'm feeling good. If you don't think, get your hoodie, get your long sleeves, because you're coming in at midnight or 1 a.m. It's going to be 10 degrees. If you leave that station, you're going to be in very deep trouble. Okay. So really, your crew is there to make sure, they have a checklist. We made it down. Like, make sure before Matt leaves, does he have his food? Does he need to change his socks? Does he need all the things that could possibly I need? And then once it's all checked, head off on your way.
That's crazy.
So yeah. Little
thing, like, I would have never thought, like, he's gonna be changing socks. Do you change shoes too? Do you have pairs of shoes you change?
Yeah. So I at this last, I did the Tahoe 200 about a month ago, and I had two pairs of shoes. I would like to 3 or 4, but money wise, but 2 pairs is fine. Honestly, it's the best feeling. It's not the shoes, it's the socks. So I have like 15 pairs of good socks, and each aid station I come in, it's like walking on clouds. It's like the best. And it's just, honestly, it helps physically, but it's the mental. It's mental that anything, like a quick change of shirt or a quick this, it's all it takes to, I just shed this. That was a tough section. Okay, new section, new spot. Okay. Sometimes when it comes to like the night, I'll try, and if I want to get a little sleep, I'll try and do like a normal like routine. So I'll wake up, I'll brush my teeth, I'll like do exactly what I would in a normal day, even though I didn't get much sleep. I maybe got an hour, but it just helps to think, okay, that was the last day. This is the new day. Keep it going, right?
Man, that's incredible. That's cool. So much goes into it and planning and stuff. Now, like, I guess. So do you have a rough estimate how many races you've done, ultras?
I've been doing this for 8 years. Maybe like 15.
Wow.
15 or so.
Man.
200.
Wow. 200 miles. That's crazy. I just watched it. Go ahead.
My first 200-mile attempts was 3 years ago. Oh, it was a 10-mile loop 20 times.
Oh.
The cutoff was very fast. They wanted you to do it in 60 hours, which is 4 miles an hour, which is brutal. No one had completed it. And not only the 10-mile section, there's no aid station. There's just one aid station at the start, right?
Oh, right.
And, it's a tough 10-mile section. It's very like up and down and up and down. Jeez. Only 8 people started. No one finished. I think I got 90 miles. It poured rain. Yeah, so that was but next year I killed it. I did Moab and did the best of my life.
That's awesome.
I needed a quick little reminder of how absolutely brutal the 200 is.
Oh, I can imagine. Beside those like moments that are like so brutal, like you're talking about, have you had any like really cool, you'll never forget moments during a race? I know you might see something or experience someone running, or.
It's the friendships you make, obviously, the people out there. Everyone wants you to win. Everyone wants you to complete it. So it's the fellowship is really great. And like in Moab, it was I do this and I don't travel that much, so I get to see these amazing places. Yeah. I felt like I was on a different planet, these red rocks and these weird rock formations. But I'll never forget the stars. There's nothing out there. So all you see, like you look up and there's pictures I have because I have professional photography. There's white everywhere. It's like blinding. Stars everywhere. That's so cool. And when you're like 3 or 4 days in, little sleep, and you're looking up and it's like, wow, like it's just, it's surreal. It's very spiritual. It's really cool. And then at that last race at Tahoe, that was probably the most beautiful place I've ever been. And so to look at because you can see the whole course. You can see this huge lake you run around, right? Oh, that's cool, at the summit and be like, wow, 2 days ago I was over there, right? And they had us go up like 10 or 11 summits. Like it was literally, Tahoe was just up, down, up, down. But what was cool is when you got to the top, there was the views that you couldn't believe. Like gorgeous sunsets. And I'll never forget, it's cold, it's hot. But then on that last day I had to deal with, it like snowed, and it snowed heavy.
Oh,
And in the beginning, it was like, oh, wow, this is super cool. Like, let's get some pictures. Then we're like, all right, I'm like 160 miles in. I'm getting a little cold because it rained first. So
oh,
I'm soaking wet.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, this isn't fun anymore. So actually, I sped it up a little bit because I'm freezing.
Right.
But luckily for me, that was the first section. That this last race, I only got 2 hours of sleep. So I
Jeez.
went 72 hours with zero sleep, and I was losing my mind.
Oh, I can't imagine.
I was trying to sleep, but I would come into an aid station and take an hour and just try to force myself to sleep. But it was like my mind wouldn't shut off. Like I would rest, but I would
Yeah.
never sleep. So my
Right.
hallucinations were absolute, like brutal,
Huh.
brutal. I'll never forget that night too. That third night where I hadn't slept and 72 hours, and literally there were some guys behind me. We were all kind of on the same delirium level,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there was probably a good 5 or 6 mile section where I was probably literally insane, and everything was coming to get me. Tree branches were trying to get me. There were people I was pushing out of the way. I started running like ducking things, and
Sheesh.
I was running fast, not because I was like in good shape. I was just like,
Could
I
just
want to get out of here, and I don't care how it happens. I'm going
wow.
to sleep in the next section. I don't care if I lose. I cannot take it anymore. I grabbed my dad, and I was like, Dad, I got to get some sleep. I can't take it anymore, man. It's like,
That's crazy. Just what
that
the
was pretty
body will
cool.
do.
Oh my gosh, man.
That's yeah, I'm sure some of those just scenery, those views you get are
Oh,
just
I know.
incredible. I can't that would be cool.
Yep.
How about any times that have been really scary? Like maybe not for you, but for someone else that you've seen or anything like that?
Well, I mean, there was one time in Moab, one of the hardest parts of the section. It was like 6 degrees, everything was freezing, and I fell. I was delirious. I was
Oh
very
no.
tired,
Yeah.
and I was falling. I fell once, and I didn't realize how scary it was until I looked at the map. I fell, and all my food went out of me outside on like a crevice where I couldn't get it. It was like literally like off a cliff.
Oh,
And if I'd have fallen any quicker, like I would have like fallen very far down.
right.
You
And
know?
are people around you a lot, or they're most
No,
of the
this
time
is
you're on your own?
at that level. I didn't see anybody for like 12 hours.
Yeah, that's
So that
crazy.
was a little scary. And then at Tahoe, it was a little annoying, honestly, but like I got lost. I could see the finish line. I could literally see it. And like a mile away, but I went the wrong way, and I
Oh
spent two
no.
hours. Spent 2 hours walking back and
Oh,
forth. Again, I wasn't logically thinking.
right. Yeah, at
I
that
should
time
have
it's
gone back to the last marker, and it was that, oh, turn right, not left. So
yeah.
finally, I got in, but literally, they could see my
Jeez.
light, and I could see my parents
Oh,
way in the distance. Oh, so
that's a bummer. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, that's another thing. Just the dangers that could be out there and not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I'm sure you put a lot of time, unlike me and my marathon training. I'm sure you put a lot of time into training, like mentally and physically. Does that be
Yeah,
correct?
for sure. Yeah, I plan out all my. I spend about 6 to 7 months training for these things, and I'm
Wow.
pretty good with putting in the time. And I've done a lot because I want to be able to do better, and I am pretty good with lack of sleep and making
Hmm.
those decisions. I just made a stupid mistake,
Right.
but so I'll do like I think the last race I did. I worked all day, and then I did like an 8 hour night run, and then
Okay.
I didn't sleep, did another all day, did another like 6 hour run at night, and then I worked half day on that next day, and then I slept just to kind of just to I went to work the next day and tried to focus. It was brutal, but
No.
like just trying to. It's not like you adapt. I don't really think the physical adaptation, but just the fact that when I'm struggling and a lack of sleep, I'm like, you know what? I did this in training. I've been here before. Hang tough. You can do this. It's more of just the mental part that really
Yeah.
helps me.
Yeah.
And then just obviously doing the long runs, just the
Right.
consistent busting them out. It's good for the body, the physically.
For sure. Um, do you have like a routine, like a mental practice that you do like before races or during training? I know you said you kind of like just kind of do it and the sleep
Yeah.
deprivation stuff. Is there anything else you do to kind of like train your mind to overcome these
Um,
obstacles?
it's something I don't necessarily put besides that sleep thing. I don't really necessarily put it into training
Yeah.
like on paper. But what happens is as you keep, you wake up and you're like, I got a 4 hour run today. I'm
Right.
tired. I don't
Right.
want to do it. But forcing yourself to, all right, let's go. Like the race, this distance terrifies me. It's not getting any quicker. One
Yeah.
thing I do, I guess, I always write numbers on my wrist, count down to the days.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know what? Like I can skip this run, but the days on my wrist aren't getting any bigger. It's getting smaller. So take that seriously. And so that's enough to like get me out the door.
Okay.
And a lot of times what you do is as you're running, you'll get some negative thoughts, right? You'll get,
Right.
and I'm not always perfect with it, but more often than not, I can learn, okay, I'm feeling a little negative. What's going on? Am I getting enough food? All right, am I enough stress? Like, how do I push through this and either complete it or not only complete it, but complete it and like stay positive and encouraging. And so learning how to twist those negatives to positive, but that all just comes with just like, it just hits you randomly in training. And you just either, some days I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm quit. I'm going to take a little break. I can rationalize it. I need 2 hours.
Yeah.
I do, because I got to listen to my body. Right. But for the most part, I'm pretty good with just like finding ways to stay positive and push through. And because it's like, I don't know, there's some people that they can't do this. They don't, not because they like can't, but just because like they don't have legs, or like there's people out there that like have terrible back injuries or that would love to just run a mile. And I'm over here like exploring the world and like, so it's tough, but it's like, you know what? I'm blessed to be able to do this. So like, stop complaining. Let's get it moving, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I know that's a huge one. I mean, at least from my perspective during races, like, and in marathons, usually you have people around you because they're so large events. And so that makes it easier for me because it's like, I'm going to catch that person over there in the red shirt or whatever it may be. But when you're out there, like you said, in moments where you're alone for who knows how long out there trying to run 200 miles, like you have to have that mental fortitude to like just keep moving, just keep going forward and not just kind of like lay down and quit right there on the course. And so,
well, I always tell people like before they start something crazy, whether it's a 5K, whatever it is, like it's crazy for them whenever they start it, you have to have a deep, like a strong why. Like, why are you doing this? If you're just doing this to like impress a girl or like get it done, all right, like maybe you can get, but like some of these longer distances, that's not going to cut it, because when the training gets tough, if you're just like, oh, like, I'll quit. Like you won't do the work. So your why has to be pretty deep, like has to be like in you, like whether it's a sense of adventure or it's how you talk to God or it's like something needs to be deep. Because if it's not, you're not, I don't think you're going to make it. Everyone I've talked to that's done these races has a very, they love it. They're passionate for it. They're deep. They've been doing it. They're in it.
Right.
No one does races like, oh, let's just sign up for a 200. Oh, cool. Like that sounds fun. Like it's like you kind of, even with the marathons, you get people that just like do it on a dare. And you can kind of get away with like borderline training and just push through, but you can't do that on past marathon. Honestly,
so your body would just break down so quick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. I mean, even with the little training I do for the marathons, like I can tell, like if I would go any farther, like it wouldn't be a good outcome at all. So
exactly.
So what would you suggest, or how do you think that these kind of positive thinking can be applied outside? Or have you noticed that from doing these races, you've had a more strong will or positive outlook on life in general?
I try and take it with the idea of like, you know, like I'm saying with turning negative to positive, like, you know, some days you have extra stress or something happens or I don't know, like the boss does this or clients, you know, it's just kind of whenever life hits you, just trying to understand. I try and look at the analogy of like life is like a long race. And it's like, you know what, you're going to have some lows. Like, all right, you can either like sit in it and like, that's up to you, or you could, all right, let's try and figure out a way to like get positive or get through it. And I understand that the lows are going to pass. The highs are coming, hang in there. It's okay. But trying to actively like, just do what you can to, you know, get past that. But like, and also understanding that honestly, I feel like if anything I want to do in life, like I can do, like if I put my mind to it, like, crazy, like I can do it, you know?
For sure.
And I have the facts to, you know what I mean? Like I'm a skinny, I always tell people I'm a pretty, you know, skinny, small dude and stuff. But I feel like if I really, really wanted to play football, not that I could go pro, but I bet you I could become a pretty good football player. Right. If I really desperately wanted it, I would eat different, I would train different. Yeah. Like I feel like the elites and the best and the pros, there's a genetic factor, sure. Yeah. But I feel like for a lot of things, we all set ourselves up very like short. I think, I could never do that. It's too hard. I think we think of and I'm not perfect with it, but like we think of all the work it takes. That's going to take years. Yeah. That's going to take waking up really early. I don't know if I want that. Right. You know? And then it's like, it's easier to say I can't do it. Yeah. As opposed to, I don't want to do it, you know?
For sure. And I think that's huge. Like, we just make excuses almost as to why we can't or won't accomplish something. And we, like you said, we don't have that internal like fire, like that. What is pushing us to accomplish this? It's not strong enough. And so we give up. And I think, yeah, so many people miss kind of what maybe like their passion is, or maybe what they're meant to be doing because of either like fear or just not feeling adequate. You know what it like, that
Mm-hmm.
mental game is super important. I think almost over physical
Mm-hmm.
aspects of things. Like, because if we can't grasp the positive in the situation, yeah, nothing's ever going to be perfect. But if we can't have that faith to overcome those, then so many things in life are going to keep us down.
There was something that that 2 hour marathon was just broke, right?
Yeah.
And it was something that guy, I was watching an interview that him. Hold on a second, my
Yeah.
dog.
No problem. No problem.
It was something he was saying with the what was it? Basically, if you don't control the mind controls you.
Yeah.
And saying like, he was saying like you might be able to run, a 13-minute 5K or something crazy, right?
Right.
But your mind might only let you do a 60-minute, like because you're not strong enough to put, but you might have the body for it. And I hear about like sometimes like your talent can take you places that your character doesn't keep you, right? You can get to a place where you're really talented, but man, I want to put the work in. I
Yep.
don't want to do, and so you kind of you do have to go both. And I always wonder, there's people out there that have a lot more than they have, and me included potentially. And it's like, what would that be like if we really just went after it with everything in our mind and stopped giving excuses,
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah. If
yeah.
we just put the fear and the self-doubt and all that aside, like the guy who broke the 4-minute mile,
Yes, exactly.
no one said it could be done. He did it. And then like the next year or something, someone else broke his record. And it just took that one time for them to forget what people were saying, forget those mental boundaries and take off. And ever since it was never a factor. Like, it was so easy to break.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's
makes you wonder.
crazy. Yeah, exactly. Like, what else, like, are we as humans like mentally blocking from happening? Like, what technological advances or advances in medicine, like, what is being
Mm-hmm.
missed because the individual who has the talent or has the ability to do it is still fearing failing or fearing what people will think.
Yep,
Like, it's
exactly.
so crazy. So if you were to go in front of some corporate leaders, business leaders, and you were to give them some tips to help improve their more positive mental pictures or mental focus, what 3 things you might give them to help them?
Um, always believe you can do it, whatever it is. Um, in that regard, not just like, oh, I can do it, like believing you can do it, and then setting out a plan of action to do it.
For
A lot of
sure.
people just, I believe I can do it, and then they put no work in.
Yep.
Being able to like, and again, it ebbs and flows, but like, stay positive. I guess negativity very rarely does you any good. Like constructive criticism, and there's some, but I think we as a culture, America, we get really offended really quick.
Yep.
And like, I don't know, it's you can stay in this negative zone way longer than you should. Real quick, okay, what did I failed at this, or I didn't get the job promotion, or I didn't get this. Okay, why didn't I get it? Okay, think about this. Okay, boom, what can we do to fix it? Let's keep it moving.
Yep.
Like, instead of just like, oh, I didn't, and
Yeah.
like you get stuck in this self-pity zone, right?
Yeah.
So just trying to, I feel like staying positive, you're more productive, you're more likely to succeed. I don't know, just I try and as much as I can just get out of the wallowing and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I don't know. again, I'm a go-getter. I'm a dream chaser. I feel like
Yeah.
if you want it badly enough, you can get it. It just depends on like, you know, and like I see a lot of people, they'd be like, I'm a personal trainer, right? So a lot of them are like, oh, I don't have time to work out. I don't have this. And I've met I've met CEOs. I've met people that like are very busy, and they still find time to work. They work out. You know what?
Yep.
That means they wake up at 4:30 and they hit it in the morning. That means they. But a lot of people, how many hours are you on Facebook? How many hours are you on Twitter? Like so many, like you could get an hour less of sleep. But so it bothers me when people. There's very few people I've met that truly don't have time to work out.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
a choice, really.
it's a choice. So I don't mind if you say, you know what, I don't want to. That's cool. I don't mind that. But when
Yeah.
they say they can't, it's like an excuse. It's like a way that
Yep.
like they justify it, and they stay in this little bubble,
Yep.
right? And so that's always kind of bothered me. And again, I can do the same thing. Sometimes people call me out on that. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I could do it. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
just trying to change my phrase, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Being more honest, transparent with it. I mean,
well, like one day I eat way too much candy still. It's ridiculous, right? And you know what? I'm like, I kind of like the same thing I was saying. I kind of wanted to stop, but I'm like, it's not strong enough, right? And
right.
then I was like, wow, I can't quit. I was like, you know what? No, I totally could. I just don't want to, and that's my answer, and that's fine.
Right.
I changed it. I can't quit. No, you could. You just don't
Yeah.
want to.
Good job changing the wording and
Yeah,
being
just
honest with yourself
be
even.
honest with
Yeah.
yourself. Exactly. Stop
Yeah.
using it's cool where you're at, but just start vocalizing it as opposed to trying to rationalize it in your head, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a big thing that I've started like to hearing more about or and reading more about is just like the positive affirmations, like self affirmations, like giving yourself those to kind of open up
Yep.
that more like positive mindset. And so there's been a lot of benefits that I've read coming from that, and even with starting to try to use it, I've noticed. So, do you
Or
use any
even
of
like,
those?
um, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. In this world I'm in, as a personal trainer, you can get the. I always had an idea of the typical personal trainer is this big, this buff guy, right? He
Right.
talks, he picks up heavyweight, and
Yeah.
so that's not me.
Right.
I try to lift and that kind of thing. I'm a runner. So I'm a skinny dude. So I've always had this idea of like I want to be that, but I don't. I, I can, and I'm strong, but I'm not. I can't be that. So I
Right.
used to beat myself up so bad, and like it was just this like negative self-image and all
Mm,
this stuff. But I guess for me, it was like starting to just understand, like, I don't know, like God loves me and God made me how I am.
yep.
Like I can, I don't know, who am I to, the mirror was the worst thing for me. And
Uh,
I never had the best biceps. My six pack I could always do better. And it was just this never ending. I was
yep.
never going to find that perfect ideal. And women deal with it a lot with obviously with the media and that kind of thing, but
Mm,
men as well with the the men's fitness models and
yep.
look at this and it's jacked and a lot of it's photoshopped and it's just like I want to be that but I can't, or
Yeah.
I don't. So anyways, just trying to keep the image and just stop being so hard on myself
Yeah.
and staying in the process of working out, and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Like doing your best and understanding like you're made like how God wanted you to be, and
Yeah.
you're where you're going to be according to His will. And I think that's trying to stay in that is important too, so we don't get too far from it. So, kind of try to end the shows kind of with questions based on like the 5 pencil leadership traits. So the first one is being we all need mentors or coaches that help get us to where we are and to help propel us onwards. And so, is there anyone who stands out in your mind as like a coach or a mentor that have really influenced you and gotten you where you are today?
So early on, the first ever, I never heard of ultras until I remember I saw this video. It was of David Goggins, and this guy's a Navy SEAL, right?
Yeah.
And he's just motivation. He's just a mental tank, insane. And I've always kind of followed him on YouTube and his races, and I don't know, his just go get it attitude is something I guess I've tried to emulate. I feel like he does an amazing job at it, but it's like it's the just attitude of just go get it, just like I try and live. But I mean, he's more of just like I've never met him. Trying to think of someone like in my life
I gotcha.
per se. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think. honestly, my personality is a type that like, I always want to be the best I can be.
Yeah.
So I have this guy in my head and I've had to go back and forth with it, but he's very hard on me. And it's like, hey, like pushes, like, it's just like I had this alter ego. I have this alter ego. I call him coach.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll talk to him mid race or, hey coach, I don't, and he's the epitome of like every, like,
All your
so hard,
mentors.
so
Yeah.
strong, all this. And taking that to an extreme, it's too much. But like, I kind of try and perspire to be that perfect me. So
Right.
it's almost like my inspiration is like, it used to be other people like, David Goggins or people I've seen online. But once I started completing, I'm at marathon, 50 miles, I started realizing like, I can inspire myself. Like I can
Mm.
look back, like, look what you just did, Matt. Like, that's amazing. Like, you're stronger than you think. And
Yeah.
it started to become like I know what I'm made of. I know who I am. I'm more than I think I am. Like, I still use outside inspiration. I love it, but I also I know who I am and I know what I've done, and it's like a cool like inner inspiration.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, for sure. So, along the lines of pencil leadership being that a pencil has to be sharpened to leave a mark and be used to the best of its ability. So, is there ever been a time, maybe outside of ultras, that have been like kind of painful in as far as um, your journey and gotten you to where you are, but in the end made you better?
So I feel like when I got out here to Connecticut, I lived in Indiana my whole life, and then I
Right.
just up and left, family, friends, everyone. I didn't know anybody here. For the first like 3 years, even though I was still doing ultras and running a lot, like I isolated. I had no friends. I was very lonely, and extrovert me on the personal trainers. I went to work and I smiled and everyone, I'm running hard, but I had no friends. I was very alone. And I kind of wallowed in that. Like I kind of just like expected friends to knock on my door. And like, I
Hmm.
just didn't want to put the work in. I was just so isolated.
Right.
And that was a tough time. And I feel like I kind of made I don't know, like not like a actual decision, but just like you know what, like it kind of hit me like the pain of like doing what I'm doing. Nothing's going to change. Like if
Right.
nothing changes, nothing changes. So it's like I need to put myself in situations where I try and and make new friends. And you know what, suck it up. Like nothing's going to change. You have to get out. So I
Right.
kind of started like getting involved in church
Yeah.
and other things. And like now I have like friends galore, and it's like I had to put the work in.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult for me when I first got here, and I don't think anybody really knew it. I just kind of I hit it because I'm the happy dude. I'm the guy that like inspires people, and I felt like I could not inspire myself to get out and meet people, and I felt like a weird hypocrite, right?
Right.
So yeah, definitely. Like I said, I've done the wallowing, and I've done all that, so I know. I can. It's up to me to change. No one's going to force me to change. But I can sit in
Right.
misery as long as I want. But if that's it. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And that kind of correlates into like, so the next one is the pencils have an eraser, obviously, because we're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen, but we're able to fix them or work on fixing them. Have you ever made a mistake that you've really learned from, and it really kind of changed your trajectory in life?
Yeah, I guess my first girlfriend, which was not that long ago, 2 years ago.
Uh huh.
It was a relationship. I'd never been in one, so I didn't know what love is. I didn't know anything, and it was a very toxic relationship. But I didn't know any
Gotcha.
better.
Yeah.
Very codependent, very messed up here. But I stayed in it for a year. I didn't know any.
Hmm.
I didn't know. I did the best I could and all this stuff, and it was. I don't know if I would have said it at the time, but it was very miserable. Even though
Hmm.
I had friends and I was going out, I had a girlfriend. I always wanted a girlfriend, and there was a lot of hard times.
Yeah.
And so honestly, when I broke up with her, that was a really tough time. And but because of that, I knew exactly what I was looking for in a girl.
Yeah.
I needed to do that. I needed to go through all that in dark times to know who I was looking for. And now the girl I'm with and going to marry,
Hmm.
I know it 100%. And I feel like if I would have met her 2 years ago, I don't think I would have been attracted to her. I don't think I would have. She wouldn't have been attracted to me. I needed to go. I had a lot of growing to do, and I
Right.
learned a lot by making mistakes. And
Mm.
I used to regret it, and it's going to be something I'm going to regret. But at the same time, I know me, and I could have, future me right now could have gone over 2 years ago and that, yo, don't date this girl. She's not. But I would have been like, no, dude, you don't understand. I had to go
Yeah.
through it. I needed
Right.
to go through it. So the
Yeah.
way my life is now, I'm getting all these blessings, and literally, what was it, like a month into dating her, we got engaged, and now,
Man.
and like in 2 months, so literally in 6 months, I'm gonna meet her, get engaged, and get married. We both knew exactly who we were looking for.
Wow.
So that
Well,
was a mistake.
congrats. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So
Yeah. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, and that's a big thing. Like being able to take our mistakes and like say that they're mistakes, but they happen, and
mhm.
be able to find the learning value from them. I think that's so cool that you're able to do that and really move on and get the blessing from it.
Well, like right after that, I spent about a year, and I really worked on myself. Like
Yeah.
spiritually, I stayed single. I wasn't looking, and I genuinely just found out who I am, and I really put the work in. And I needed that time to really make myself. Not that I wasn't attractive a couple years ago, but from a spiritual and standpoint, I don't think I was a very attractive person.
I gotcha.
A lot of attitudes and thoughts that people couldn't see, but that weren't right, that weren't
Yeah.
attractive to a girl, and I needed to work on myself in a single time of being of seeing that in me and not liking that, and
Right.
then facing those things and actually putting the work in and like actively trying to not be that man anymore, so
Mm.
I can be the man that actually someone good, a quality girl would actually be attracted to.
Yeah.
So again, I needed to go through that.
For sure. Man, that's awesome. So the next question that goes along with pencil leadership is obviously pencils get nicked, cut up, beat up from use over the years, but the lead inside is what is most important. That's what leaves the mark when it's used. So same with us. What's the most important um, personal value or trait that you really try focusing on or projecting throughout your life?
It's a hard one. I feel like I have a couple. Definitely like perseverance,
Yeah.
just being able to, push through the hard times, keep going one foot at a, one step at a time, that kind of thing. Honesty, I feel like stupid honesty. Like I
Hmm.
would rather, even like the question, like, how are you, bothers
Yeah.
me, because you're supposed to say, I'm fine, how are you? But what if I'm
Right.
not fine? What
Yeah.
if, what if this, or like, but I feel like and again, there's people to say it to, you don't just say it to everyone, but I feel like I'd rather have like three ride or die closest friends than like 50 acquaintances we can just laugh and play bowling and hang out with. I'd rather get real and like find out who you really are.
Mm.
So honesty for me, because I feel like if you're a fake friend or a fake person, it's just not attractive to me. I want to get to know.
Yeah.
I want you to know me, the real me. If I got to put on a mask, if I got to put on like a facade, that's hard work. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to be me. And I'm like, I'm not the best person, but like, here's me. You don't like me, that's cool. But like, then we don't have to be friends. We can just keep it moving,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So honesty, perseverance, discipline, all the hardworking kind of aspects of just
Yeah.
like put the work in, hang tight, and you will get the results, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And those are, I mean, there are a lot of good ones, but I think, yeah, the honesty is huge and the perseverance, being able to um, push through a lot of things and then just be honest with whatever it is to whoever. That's really cool.
Or even like
Um,
honesty with yourself too. Like
oh
again, like I
yeah,
said, like
man.
there's times when, especially as I'm getting married, like there's things in me that she's bringing up that I never saw, and it's true. And I'm like, ugh, I don't want to face that. I want to be like, no, no, it's not me. But if I
Right.
take a look at it, you know what? She's right. There's areas, and I'm like, oh, right here and here, where people have, like we talked about, like people have bring things up. Like your good friends can bring things up in you, and instead of like, no, I'm perfect. Oh, I don't need that. Oh, I'm good. Like facing that and owning up to
Right.
it. You know what? That's a defect of mine. I can
Mm,
work on that. I can, just again being honest. I'm not perfect, and having people that can bring stuff to you in a genuine manner, and then that makes me okay. I can face it. I can get better with it, and then I can become a better person because of it. But if I wasn't honest with myself, I don't deal with it. I just live in
Yeah.
this fantasy world where I'm the perfect person and I'm not ever wrong or nothing. And that is not attractive. That's not
No,
true.
yeah, it's not healthy. Yeah.
Arrogant. It's all that stuff. And that's not who I want to be.
That's
So,
awesome. No, that's a
you know,
huge one. Yeah. Being honest to yourself. I think a lot of people, myself included, have moments where that's not the
oh
case.
yeah,
And it's definitely, yeah,
for sure.
that's awesome. So the last one, obviously a pencil has a job, and that's to leave marks, no matter the surface. So what would you say is your ultimate hope? Um, how can you leave a positive difference in the world?
Boy, you're asking the deep stuff, huh? Um, I don't know. I was trying to think about like, when I die or my gravestone, like
Yeah,
what's going to be left behind,
that
right?
legacy. Yeah,
I always feel like we just, I don't know, with the character values, just I try and be a guy that's genuine, that's real, that tries to stay as positive as he can. And there's too much, especially nowadays with the politics and all this, there's so much negativity and hatred and craziness that I might not be some crazy world changer up on the spotlight, but I want to be like, I get to influence my clients. I get to take people overweight that maybe they've lost a lot of weight. I can change people's individual lives. Like, I got one guy doing a marathon, and there's these cool things where I can play a role in these people's lives. And who knows, like, that's my area of influence. So I just
yeah,
try and be a place where people can do things that they don't think are possible, and I can help fan that flame and push them into that area, and then at the same time have a good time doing it.
yeah.
And I don't know, just I guess trying to make more people smile and laugh. Like I have a game sometimes I play if I'm having a tough time on a run. I'll I'll wave at every car I see. If the car doesn't wave back, I got to do a 10-second sprint. If he does wave back, like I'm good. Or so it's like the next runner I see, I have to give him a hug. And if he like doesn't want a hug, then shoot, I have to run like a 30-second sprint. Or it's just like finding ways to like, oh, you know what? Like let me just try and make this person smile, or like
That's cool.
I call it the smile game. So I just try and be a positive influence in this world that's pretty dark a lot of
Yeah,
times, and,
yeah.
and go from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point with that one is like no matter where we're at, like we can leave a positive mark. You don't
Oh
have to
yeah.
be the president of the United States or the CEO of some huge multi-company incorporation
Mm-hmm.
to have a impact, a positive impact. Because I heard it, and I say this a lot from the Global Leadership Summit. Patrick Lencioni said like everyone has influence, but not everyone should. And so
Yeah.
like there's people that need to use their platform a little bit better, but then like you and your platform, you're spreading joy and everything to clients and change, which is cool. So like being where you are, using where you're at, and who knows where it can take you, just adding value
Exactly.
that way. Yeah,
Yep.
it's
Yeah, I
awesome.
mean, we all have, like you said, areas of influence, whether it's, I mean, heck, the person at Starbucks giving coffee, right? You
Yep.
meet these people, hey, you know what? That little interaction, you might have changed their day. You
Yeah.
might have made, and then that person goes on, makes important deals and changes. So just these small little ripple effects where it's like, let this guy in on the drive, or like, don't get this waiter's being really like stupid. You know what? He's probably having a bad day. Like I was trying to think the best. You know what? Let me just
Right.
take a deep breath. It's okay. People make mistakes. It's all good. Like me yelling isn't going to change anything.
Right.
Just trying to stay like that, where like all those small interactions, like I don't see them, but like I have no
Yeah.
idea the ripple effect. It could happen, and that's true for everybody, every person. So
No, for sure. No, agreed 100%. But well, hey, thank you so much, Matt, for being on the show and just giving us this kind of education, this knowledge from your perspective, just
for sure.
about perseverance and then just the mental fortitude that comes with that. I mean, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know how this whole podcast thing goes and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So